not desperation, but absolute need for help and guidance to define what is this? Like you said, what are the attributes? What are the characteristics of this practice, this top chiropractor? Who should be featured? Who should be, which business, which practice, which doctor should be featured?
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business, so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And we are honored to be on the journey with you. And what a journey it is, the journey of the remarkable CEO. And I don't know where you are today in your journey of becoming the CEO and being the CEO. I know that there are some ups and downs and twists and turns. There's some storms on the journey and on the way. And we hope that this episode is meeting you right where you are at and right where you need. We're talking today about top chiropractors. It's going to be a really insightful episode for you. We're going to share some stories, some things that have been happening already, and the work that we've been doing to, I hope, advance chiropractic nationwide and worldwide. Dr. Stephen, this is great. But I want to just just throw it out there that if this is a program and show that's been of value to you, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your feedback. We value that tremendously. We love listening to our listeners and what they say about our show. So if you have not reviewed this show to date and you've been a listener and you love what you're hearing, we'd love to get a 5-star review from you. Thank you so much for doing that. That would greatly encourage us. We'd love that. It would also actually help us to spread this message to more chiropractors, because if you're finding this of value and you review us, this will help us gain more traction and reaching more chiropractors with the message. And if you have a testimonial or some sort of review that you want to share your story and give that to us, we would love for you to do that too. We want to hear from you and how this show specifically has impacted you. Again, this is something that really helps us as we continue to work on the show and take it to a new level. And then lastly, please refer this to a friend. I know that for me, Dr. Stephen, whenever I get on a call with one of my new clients or a doctor who is maybe needing some support and help, maybe a listener to our show, one of the questions that I ask is, hey, are you listening to our podcast? You need to make sure you subscribe to that at a minimum. Make sure you every week are tuning into that. So this is just a best practice, I think, for business leaders and chiropractors who really want to turn their job into a business and become a remarkable CEO and have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life and not instead of one. This is just a best practice to have this type of content streaming into your mind on a weekly basis. Again, it's an accountability to yourself, and it'll keep you moving forward and moving in the right direction. So please just share this with a friend or colleague today. If you're listening to this right now, my action step for you is just pick one person, send it to them today before the end of the day, and encourage them to listen to this podcast. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So Dr. Stephen, this is such an important time to be a chiropractor. We've been saying that with everything that's going on in the landscape of healthcare, all the changes that have happened, even with our marketing and how people find chiropractors, and how people select chiropractors. There's a lot of factors. And now more than ever before in this century now, and in this era in chiropractic, it's so important to be positioned correctly digitally. It's so important to have the proper positioning so that you get the right exposure so that your business can grow. And so we had an interesting experience happen to us, Dr. Stephen, recently in the last months that we've been working on. And we're going to unpack that for you and I'll share with you about, some revelations we had and some things that we're working on right now.
Yeah, it was such an exciting, really, I think, first conversation that brought, I think, what we're going to now do a series on. We brought the whole thing to light, right? So in short, there's a team of a digital marketing expert team that's backed by venture capital who are kicking off this initiative where, in short, they want to leverage the latest technology in search optimization and artificial intelligence to be able to drive a very specific chiropractor or practice to the number one position in search in the top 300 cities in the country, right? So it's really an ambitious undertaking, really exciting undertaking. And man, it got our attention straight away. But what was awesome is that they came to us because they had vetted different experts, different coaching companies, et cetera, to really weigh in on what does it mean to be the best? Like, what does it mean to be the best chiropractor or the best chiropractic practice? And what I loved was their heart behind this, because long story short is like the person behind this thing is he's a tech heavy, right? So this is like somebody who is not only just knowledgeable in the space and loves to geek out talking about artificial intelligence, search, and et cetera, but this person is a proven expert that has had many laps around the track, many successors. I'm not going to name drop, and I'm not going to talk about some of the things that they've done, but enough to just allow me to say that this person is highly qualified to do this right, and comes with a team of heavy hitters who are going to do this right. Right. So when they came to us, it was really an honor, because they said to us, listen, you guys, I think, are uniquely qualified to help us discern who is the best chiropractor in town that we want to get behind and give them the opportunity to rise to the top. Because ultimately, our objective is to elevate chiropractic. We want to elevate. This guy has fallen in love with chiropractic. We know the stories, right? So I helped somebody in his family with a health issue, and he was literally came to us as like, I'm pissed off. Why doesn't everybody know about chiropractic? Which is exactly where we want the digital marketing expert to be. We want them to be pissed off that nobody knows about chiropractic, right? So he came to us and said, I think you guys are uniquely positioned to help us identify exactly who is the best chiropractor in every town, and how do we choose that person so we can elevate that person. Because this is not a marketing initiative. This is a healthcare initiative. We want to elevate chiropractic to its proper place in the healthcare marketplace, which means that we want to make sure that we are shining the lights on the right practices, so that the people fill these right practices and they have a great experience and great outcomes. And we're like, you are talking to the right guys. Pete, that's literally what I said to him, right? You are talking to exactly the right people right now, right? So, man, we're just so excited to even start this conversation, because, after the conversation, I looked at Pete and I was like, Dr. Pete, that's going to make a fantastic, not just an episode, but a whole series of episodes where we can just talk to our docs. We'll pull back the curtain in the following episodes. We're going to help you guys understand how we, from our position, said, this is who we consider the best chiropractors, right? And not by name, but by attribute. Okay. Yes. So we built out this avatar that we'd say, listen, at the end of the day, here's how we've arrived at this avatar, and the attributes and qualities and qualifications of the practice, the team, the leader, that we would want to make 10,000 copies of this practice, of this business, of this chiropractor, and spread them around the 10,000 top cities in the world. That was how we approached this project. Right. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, we already had a process in place. We already had a tool, a system, a process to leverage to discern and identify exactly who is the top chiropractor. And frankly, guys, this is part subjective, part objective. Okay. So just to be, for the sake of transparency, we're talking about a principled subluxation-based chiropractic practice, right? So I'm just going to tell you right now, that was the criteria for starts. We want to elevate the principled subluxation-based chiropractor who's doing chiropractic. And I'm not saying chiropractic exclusively. I don't want to lose anybody's attention on that, but somebody who's practicing chiropractic, telling the chiropractic story, changing their patient's paradigm from outside in to inside out, charting a course for somebody to get better health outcomes, right? And hopefully charting a course for an entire family to change their belief system, so they'll change their behavior, so they'll change their health trajectory, right? So from a high level, just to pre-qualify us on this, that's the position that we're coming from. That would ultimately be our objective. But we had our criteria. We had our criteria organized into a process that we call the Clinicoscopy. Okay. And the Clinicoscopy is our way of assessing, auditing a practice across the four-legged stool of a practice, which of course is the art, the science, the philosophy, and the fourth leg of the stool, which is business acumen. And if we were to just double click on business acumen for a second, it's unpacking the four success domains of a practice, which is attraction, conversion, retention, and team building. And we have this clinicoscopy process that actually creates a score that lets us know really who are the best chiropractors in the world.
Yeah, it's just such a powerful conversation as a CEO, as you're listening in and you're the CEO of your business. This is the question that we should be asking ourselves. This is the question that I need to be answering is, are we the best? And how can we continue to get better and be the best? That's a question that I want to go into every team meeting, every team training. I want my team going into, whether I'm there or not, thinking that way, especially some of you who are enterprise doctors, which means you have multiple clinics and you have, doctors and teams spread out across a city or a region. How do we continue to position ourselves and how do we continue to meet that criteria and that standard? Dr. Stephen, I think one of the things that was very revealing to you and I was that they had vetted other groups and chiropractors in cities. And what they were finding was there was all different levels of quality of businesses and offices. And it was confusing. There was a lack of, there was direct
continuity,
direction,
right?
Yeah, exactly. They needed that. So when they came to us, it really out of in a place of need, not desperation, but absolute need for help and guidance to define what is this? Like you said, what are the attributes? What are the characteristics of this practice, this top chiropractor? Who should be featured? Who should be, which business, which practice, which doctor should be featured? And it was a real conversation, unemotional, just straightforward. Like, what are the criteria that go into determining who should be this person that we feature? Now, coming from the story of the backstory, this person had a transformation for a personal family member of theirs whose life was transformed through chiropractic. And that's where this became the rubber hit the road, which is so interesting. So now when someone who has their life transformed or someone very dear to them's life transformed through chiropractic and their standard experience was high, now the bar is set very high across the board. And so when they were searching and not finding, coming to us, like Dr. Stephen said, you had a big smile on your face. This is exactly what we do. It's actually our brand. It's our standard, Remarkable Practices. We have a standard. That's our brand. It is our standard of how we train, equip, develop doctors and their teams and their businesses across the four, like you said, four domains, those four successful areas, the attraction, conversion, retention, and the team. And so when you painted that picture, it was like, this is exactly what we need, right? And so the beautiful thing is this is nothing new to us, right? So this isn't new to the Remarkable Practice. This is not new to the Remarkable CEO. This is what we do. This is what we're doing. This is what so many of the Remarkable Practices who we get to work with are doing. They have visibility into, like you said, the four legs. They have visibility into that, and they know that there is a standard. And so because of that, imagine what we can do if we can put chiropractic on the map like that. Think about the significance of what that's going to do, not only for the top chiropractor, but also for the rest of chiropractic. When you can start putting out a brand, a model, a reputation at that level in an industry nationwide, what would that, how would that translate in that trickle effect, that domino effect going down to the rest of the profession? It will be significant. So this is significant, Dr. Stephen, what's happening. And I believe what it's going to do for chiropractic here in this next decade, as you said, because of the way technology is going and because of the intelligence of artificial intelligence and what can be done and the way searching is going to be working and really the future of how people are finding doctors and selecting doctors is we want to be and must be positioning ourselves in this way. So this is not only a good idea, this is an essential. And as a CEO, it's critical that we see where are we going, right? The CEO asks, what's important now? What's important next? This met that criteria for us. We said, you know what? This is important now for our docs. This is important next for our docs and for our profession. So we knew, hey, we want to be a part. Yes, we want to come alongside and be a part of this project. It's essential for us because we know where we're going.
Yeah, before this COVID catastrophe, this was already important. post-COVID, marketing in a post-COVID world, running a business in a post-COVID world, this is mission critical. Okay. So I don't want to make this sound more grandiose than it is, but I also want you to understand that we felt the weight of this project, right? So we recognize that this is an incredible opportunity, right? So it's an incredible opportunity for chiropractic, but it's also an incredible responsibility for us to do this properly, right? So we recognize that, when you look at the way, search works, is if you're top ranked, you're going to get 40, 45, 50% of the attention, period, straight up, right? So let's just be real and raw right now, guys. So I'm going to be frank, and I really don't want to offend anybody. That's not my intention here. I just want to turn the lights on. Like, let's be really clear on, we all know the truth to this. The number one ranked chiropractor in town is not necessarily the best chiropractor in town. Okay. And by best, we just jumped right into the subjective pool, didn't we? Right. So the best chiropractor in town, let's just say this, is it somebody you'd send your mom to? Okay. I hope it is. I don't know if it is true for every town. Okay. But what I know, one thing to be true is they're the best marketer in town, right? So they're the best digital marketer in town. But that wasn't the question that these guys asked us. We already know how to do the digital marketing. They were basically coming to us saying, we already know how to make somebody number one and somebody number two and number three, right? So we already know how to do that. We're not asking you how to do that. We're asking you, who should we make number one? I mean, my interest was piqued after that conversation. I'm like, yeah, this means that we're literally going to have an opportunity to elevate what we would consider, the top. We are setting a standard for clinical excellence, for patients' experience, for what it means to actually run a team, run a business, run a practice, where we're driving not only extraordinary experiences initially, but better health outcomes ultimately. Man, I'm salivating now just even thinking about this project, right? So as we look at this thing, I want to recognize that, again, there's weight and opportunity. And as the tide comes in, all boats will rise, right? So I hope you find this incredible, as interesting and exciting and as encouraging as Dr. Pete and I found this to be, and to recognize we're coming from a very comprehensive, but a very, very specific definition of what we consider a truly remarkable practice. So Dr. Pete, let's start with just that four-legged stool. So when we talk about, the art, the science, and the philosophy of chiropractic, that's the traditional three-legged stool that we all heard. If you went to a principled chiropractic practice, we heard that's what it takes to be a successful chiropractor. Okay. Having the art, which is the how we do what we do, and the science, which is the exactly what to do, and the philosophy, which is the ultimate why we do what we do. What's the objective? It's a beautiful story, but it's an incomplete one, right? Because the modern chiropractor really recognizes that there's a fourth leg to this picture, right? There's a fourth leg to the stool, and that's business acumen, right? And that's recognizing that we're in the business of saving lives, so we should act like it. Right. So we need to run our practice like a business, not like a job. Right. So we want to run our practice like a business, which means that it's scalable, it's durable, and ultimately it'll be transferable. Right. So this is taking really what we would consider fundamental business principles and bringing it into the chiropractic practice.
Become the local health expert in your community through content marketing with LVRG Media. At LVRG Media, we have the most comprehensive marketing strategy of any chiropractic marketing agency out there. By taking a content-first approach, LVRG Media is a full-service digital content and lead generation agency. We help chiropractors like you become the local health expert in their community through content marketing. To schedule your free strategy session, go to www.contentintopatients.com. At Spinal Hygiene, we are on a mission to create a greater awareness for lifetime spinal health and wellness in the world. We won't stop until taking care of the spine is as common as taking care of the teeth. If you want to educate your patients about lifetime spinal care, increase your customer retention and satisfaction, add a new stream of income for your practice, or promote chiropractic as a part of long-term spinal health, then go to www.chiropractor.com www.spinalhygieneproducts.com to learn more. And now let's jump right back into our conversation. Yeah, I love this. I love unpacking the four-legged stool of the practice, the remarkable practice, really. And the first one being the art. And so just unpacking these ones, there is a standard here. There is a standard. There are criteria here. And we know that within the context of chiropractic, there's many different techniques. So this is not a technique conversation. This is a results conversation, Dr. Stephen. This is about what are the results that people are getting. This is about outcomes that people are getting. They're getting clinical outcomes as a result of how you do your work, how you deliver chiropractic as a art in your business. So that's what this is about. So this is the standard really starts here with the art, as this is about clinical outcomes. This is about results. So one of the criteria that we're looking at is who are the doctors that are actually driving and the outcomes, are getting results. Their clients are getting outcomes, are getting the results, and they're doing it in a way where it is aligned with the science, the philosophy, and their business. So again, it's not that any one of these stands on its own. We're looking for and identifying who are the practices that are embracing all four legs of the stool. And so with the art, that's what we're looking for. It's how you do your work, how you're delivering it, what the experience of the patients are coming into your practice. What is it? What does that look like for them? How are they being educated? How are they being taken care of and cared for, and their families? And what are the results that they're getting? And are the outcomes
Right.
the outcomes that they should be getting? So that's really the art. And then that leads into the science, which is, again, foundational, which is what we're doing. So when you combine those two, it's really that art and science is the foundation. And so what we're saying is, Dr. Stephen, that we're looking for principled subluxation-based chiropractors. So technique is not specific what we're looking for. We're looking for chiropractors who are delivering the chiropractic principled message, the message that the body is designed to heal. The body heals itself. We could go philosophy, you and I, all day long, but we're looking for doctors that are teaching the principles of chiropractic, and they're delivering that not just as a message, but there's a story, there's an actual application part where the actual experience of the clients, the patients that are coming in, are getting the experience that's aligned with the story, with the philosophy, with the art. It's aligned. And that's what's driving the outcome. So that's really important for us in our day and age. That's really important right now for us to say, okay, if that's going to be one of the criteria, where are you at? Where's your business? Where's my business at with our philosophy, with our art? How aligned are we? How are we with our messaging? Do our care plans align with our message? Do our results align with what we're promising? Are we delivering what we say we're going to do? Are people getting the big idea? Are they becoming an understander, we like to say in the remarkable practice, right? So are people going through the journey of really getting it? Because that's a part of the criteria for us in our business, is that people who come in, they actually begin to understand that the patient takes ownership over their own health, over their life. And so it's a standard that's very important for us, Dr. Stephen, and it's really the only way we're going to truly be able to scale and create scalability and durability within chiropractic, is if we start, again, with this high standard.
Yeah. And I'm going to suggest those are four separate and distinct boxes that need to be checked. And, so checking the philosophy, right? So, because the philosophy really is informing the art and the science, right? And you can't operate without having a philosophy around exactly what are we doing and how are we doing it, right? That's going to be driven by the philosophy, the why, right? So, and the science, of course, is going to validate the what we do and how we do it, which of course is validating the philosophy, right? So, and then of course the art is the actual delivery, right? That physical experience of driving a better health outcome. And I really want to make sure that I reiterate what you said. This is not a technique conversation, right? So I don't want to have a divisive conversation around this, only one way to do it, or what have you, right? And I'm a dyed-in-the-wool gondroid, right? So I was sort of raised with that, sort of this prejudice against other techniques. And as I matured and recognized, it's like, that's not it at all, right? So what we have to unify behind is an objective, right? So we want to unify that. We want to clear the nervous system of interference, right? And how you do that, that is the art of it, right? And there's 50 ways to skin this cat, right? So we have to unify under the objective, right? What is the goal of the care, right? And in this conversation, one of the assumptions that we're making is that we have a shared objective of clearing the nervous system of interference so that human beings have the best possible opportunity to experience the optimal expression of their innate intelligence, right? So if that is how you do it, right? So whether you're a Gonstead doctor or a full spine or CBP or an HIO or a motion palpation, Thompson, you're using instrument, you're using TRT or however you're delivering chiropractic care and delivering the adjustment with the explicit purpose of reducing nerve interference, man, that's where you see an alignment between the art, the science, and the philosophy, because that's exactly what the science tells us about the value, the true value and the benefit of being under regular chiropractic care, right? So leveraging chiropractic care as a lifestyle success strategy for healthy human beings. I cannot stand the differentiation between, oh, I'm philosophically based. Oh, yeah, well, I'm evidence based. It's like, really? Have you been? Apparently, you're not current because all of the evidence, all of the research is pointing to and explaining why what we do is so effective as a philosophical principled chiropractor, right? So that may be a conversation for a different day, but ultimately, that's the underpinnings of this art, science, and philosophy conversation. Maybe a 3 or 4-legged stool is not the right metaphor, but more of a braid, right? So it's a 4-strand braid where these things are integrated, right? So, and they live together. Like I would be able to tell you what your philosophy is by looking at your business acumen.
Mm-hmm.
Your business and the way your business is designed, I would see that your process is a reflection of the principle. Right. So I'm going to see that your attraction, your marketing message, your brand, your promise is aligned with a philosophical message. Right. So, and I'm going to see the way you adjust and what you do and how you do it is going to speak volumes. I don't have to listen to you. I just have to watch you.
Man, this is so good. So like you said earlier in this episode, you talked about there's the soft side and then there's the hard side. So we are aware that is a reality. There's a soft side to this, then there's a more objective side, and there's a more subjective side. We understand that. And so, Dr. Stephen, that's where, the tool, you talked about the tool, or we talked about the tool. There's a tool for this, right? So we know that, if you're going to be objective about something, if you're going to have some level of objectivity, we have to be measuring, right? So we say, you don't get what you want, you get what you measure, right? We talk about you don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. And so for us to create some level of objectivity here in areas that can oftentimes be subjective is we have created that. And we have a tool that we use, Dr. Stephen, that I found to be one of the most profound tools because it's a tool that doesn't actually, it has no, the shelf life is, it just keeps going, right? Because there's never, whenever you reassess your business, we talk about the remarkable CEO assesses, then they plan, prepare, execute, and then they assess again. So reassess is, we are talking about assessing your business and doing it as objectively as you can and actually measuring that and giving yourself a score, right? So all of this is very compelling because we're taking this very high level conversation and we're actually boiling it down to a very specific science and measurable so that we can determine, you actually can determine, because you should actually rate yourself. You should test yourself based on your standard. Of course, we have a standard. And so when you combine those two, you see, do they meet? Are they aligned? Where is it at? So we call that the clinicoscopy, Dr. Stephen. And I'll let you kind of talk about the name of it because it's a compelling name, the clinicoscopy, but it speaks for itself. I think you get the idea. But the reality is we have to be willing to take a real hard look at our businesses, as you said earlier, to shine the light on our businesses in such a way where we're exposed and we see, how are we doing? How did we do? Right? It's one of the questions a CEO asks is, how did we do? And how are we doing? We assess. We aren't always just moving to the next thing. We have to do this. So slowing down so that we speed up. Best practices of the remarkable CEO. And if you've listened to this podcast, you've heard us saying these things. So this is about assessing, Dr. Stephen. It's about assessing the 4 domains of your business, the 4 domains, and turning that practice into a remarkable business and becoming that remarkable leader. So it starts with doing an assessment. So when you're assessing your attraction, when you're assessing it, you're looking at it through the lens, through the filter of the art, the science, the philosophy, and your business acumen. You're actually filtering it through that lens. When you look at your conversion, when you look at your business's conversion right now, thinking about it through the lens of the art, the science, the philosophy, and your business acumen. So seeing it through each one of those lenses, that's what we're able to do in a very succinct way. And Dr. Stephen, to be honest, I'm excited because I think some doctors, some businesses are going to be just amazed at how well they're doing, and others are going to be exposed to say, wow, we're not doing well, but now I know. And that's the thing. Knowing isn't doing. Doing is doing. So knowing is the beginning of doing things differently, right? So that's how we can make the necessary adjustments and grow your business. So the result of this exercise is everybody wins, right? We level up, our businesses get better by doing this. So we've watched it. We see it happening with our clinics, the clinics we get to work with, and it's absolutely remarkable process.
Yeah. So when we designed the clinicoscopy system, the process to be just what it sounds like, right? And it's, when you receive the clinicoscopy as a PDF, as a new client of ours, for example, we knew that we had to create a starting point that was measurable because we want to drive better outcomes for our clients with their practices. We wanted to be objective about it, right? So this is one way for us to have these milestone checkups, just like you do with your patients, right? You start with an initial exam, you do progress exams, you do re-exams, et cetera. Because like you said, you don't get what you want, you get what you measure, right? So we want to make sure that we are measuring improvement and changes as we go and the effectiveness of the changes that we're making. So the clinicoscopy itself is what it sounds like. It's an audit of the practice, right? It's like rip the sheets off and, the cover's got the hand with the rubber glove, reaching up, and it says something like, let's see what's going on in there. So with a wink and a grin, we tell our docs, listen, trust us, let's just get in there and we're going to operate from a premise, right? And the premise that we operate from is that the natural state of a principled chiropractic practice is growth. Okay. And if you're not growing, and I mean readily, it just simply means that there's something interfering with that growth. Right. So, and we know from teaching our patients that the natural state of the human body is to express health. And if you're not expressing health, it just simply means that there's something interfering with the expression of health. Right. So what we do as doctors is we audit, right, their lifestyle, how you choose to eat, how you choose to move, how you choose to think, for example, and we look for 2 things. We look for the things that cause interference, which is toxicity or deficiency or both. Well, we do the same thing with a business, right? So we know the natural state of a principled chiropractic practice is growth. So if you're not experiencing growth, it just simply means that there's something that's interfering with that growth, and that source of growth of interference is going to come down to either toxicity or deficiency or both, right? So toxicity, there's something there that's innately toxic to your business, right? We need to go and ferret that out, right? Or there's a deficiency, meaning that there's something or some things that are inherently essential to a healthy organism or organization, and the growth of the business is dependent on that, and those things are missing. So we need to reconcile the deficiencies as well, right? So you go through this audit process and identify where the toxicities, where are the deficiencies across the domains of attraction, conversion, retention, and team building, and we get to reconciling them and watching that practice return to its natural state, which is growth, just like we watch our patients, once we remove the interference, return and get back to doing what they do best, which is heal and be healthy.
So this is a kickoff, Dr. Stephen, of a series, which I'm just thrilled for, because we are going to drill down. We're going to go layers deep into this. I know today, this is, more of that high level overview, but I will say this, and we want to begin this process with you CEOs as you listen to this, is that we want this to be the beginning of a process for you to do just that, to do an audit of your own business. So in the episodes to follow, we are going to be going through each one of the domains and drilling deeper down into that on the episodes here with you. And then we're going to give you a tool to be able to take that then back into your business. And as a remarkable CEO should do an audit work on your business, right? Working on my business, do an audit, do an assessment, and then take that to your team and see, okay, where do we need to focus now? What's important now? And then what's important next? Because like you said, Dr. Stephen, the natural state of a principled chiropractic practice is growth. And what we're going to do is we're not going to take a broad swoop at view of that. We're going to take a very specific view of your business. You are going to do an assessment of your business. And so as a result of just this series over these next few weeks, I would expect that we're going to see many more of you be able to more confidently say, this is where we're at, this is how we're doing, and this is where we're going to go from here, so that all of us can confidently say, I'm a best chiropractor. I'm the best chiropractor in my city. I can confidently say I meet the criteria to be the top chiropractor, the best chiropractor in my city. And I'll tell you, the more chiropractors and the more businesses that we have that are doing that, and we can confidently say you are that, that's more people that we're going to help. Because like you said earlier, we are in the business of saving lives. We're in the business of saving lives. And if we're in the business of saving lives, we should run businesses that act like that. We should be running businesses that back that statement up, and where people can confidently go and say, I'll send my mother there. I'll send my brother there. I love to send somebody to you. We want to be able to have those businesses so we can create a network across this nation and really across the world where chiropractic really does take its position, where we believe very strongly in its rightful place in healthcare as being a gatekeeper for people. Because we know that if people could go to the chiropractor earlier on in their journey, in their story, in their health, in their life, we know we're going to save so many lives. We're going to save trillions of dollars, and we're going to add so much more value to humanity. And I think many of us share that same level of conviction. So thanks so much for being a part of this inaugural episode of this series, which we're just excited to bring to you. And tune in again next week for part 2 in our series. We're going to be digging into your attraction, and we'll pick it up from there. Until then, God bless everyone.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.